Hello everybody, this is Sherry at djsundry.blogspot.com, and today I have a tag for you. In the church where I attend, we have what's called Secret Pals, Secret Sisters, and we draw names anonymously, and for 1 year we pray for that person. Of course, we should always be praying for them, but specifically for that person, specifically for needs that they have mentioned. We also give them little gifts like for their birthdays and anniversaries and those kind of things. So today, it's not quite time to reveal who our secret pals are, but my secret pal is moving. So tomorrow night is their last night at our church, at least unless they come back to visit, of course. And so I wanted to get their final little gift, or her final little gift, and for her, and get it off to her so that she would have it before she moves. So I decided to make a tag, and I wanted this to be a pretty tag and a special tag. And so let me show you what I've used. 3 Girl Jam is now selling burlap in their store. You really should go check it out. This is fabulous. This is the first project I've used with it, but it's so fun, and there's so many things you can do with the burlap, and you'll see what I did with my piece. And this isn't exactly what you would get, but if you check it out, and I'll put the link on my blog where you can find this, but just check it out and you can see exactly how much comes in a roll. I'm using this red pen from Zig. I have the distress pens, and some of them, not all of them, and I was going to use my fired brick distress pen, but it seems to be dry, which is kind of odd because I've not really used it much, so I'm gonna have to play with those. I have a feeling that maybe they're not being stored correctly, so I'm hoping that I can correct that, maybe change my storage up a little bit, but for now this one worked, so I grabbed this one. I grabbed 2 different kinds of distress ink. I grabbed Vintage Photo and again the fired brick, and I grabbed my Ranger craft tags. These are number 8 size tags, and I grabbed those, and I had this matte stack that I picked up on clearance somewhere, and my Secret Pal's favorite colors are red, and our favorite color is red, and this had some really pretty reds and blues and greens and all different colors, but I'll show you the paper I chose for that. I found these charms. This is word art from Tim Holtz. It says, "Know in your heart you are loved," and then a key and a keyhole. I'm not sure if I'm going to use all these, but I have them just in case. I found this little scrap of kind of vintage looking lace. I doubt if it's truly vintage, but it's pretty, and I'll probably just use that whole piece. Then I have this holiday ribbon that I picked up last year at at Joann's on clearance, and the gift that I'm wrapping or giving, actually the paper kind of matches this, so that'll tie it back into the gift, and that's a piece of that. And then I've pulled 2 colors of 3 Girl Jam ribbon. I pulled Sunflower and Hollyberry, and then this is the paper. Now, this is double-sided paper. On one side you have this red and kind of sunflower color, and on the other side you have sunflowers. And so I've already done some of the prep work for my tag, so let's start by showing you that. Now, this is going to be the front side of my tag. This is the side of the paper that is the sunflower, and I've already distressed around that with the Vintage Photo. And then this is going to be the back side of my tag, which we're actually going to complete first, and this is just the reverse side of that paper, and I just think this is such a pretty red and yellow combination. And then I went through my scrap stash, and I found this kind of craft colored card, and I took a piece of it to fit right about here because I wanted to write my message, and I distressed around the edges of that using the fired brick distress ink. So we're ready to start assembling our tag. Now, I just used the Ranger tag as the base, and so this is going to be somewhat sturdy. Now, the K & Company paper is not their thicker cardstock, it's rather thin cardstock, but it is still cardstock. So we've got 2 layers of cardstock plus the tag. And then now I'm going to put this layer that has the message that I'm giving to my secret pal. And that, of course, it won't be a secret because I'm revealing who I am tomorrow night. And so that's the back side. Now let's move to the front. What I did is when I adhered the back side down, I actually ended up wasting some paper because I miscut my paper. And so this is kind of, when you're using a mat stack like this, you can do one of two things. You can either just tape your tag down to the mat stack pages, which is what I did the second time, or you could cut it. If you were using larger paper or you had plenty of paper, you could cut it, you know, just a little bit bigger, but don't try to cut it to scale unless you're really good, because that's where I messed up when I tried to cut it exactly to save paper, because then I ended up just a little bit short. So what I did is I just set it down on my paper, and then I trimmed around it with my scissors, and then I cut my first hole, and then I flipped it on the other side and did the same thing with the other side. So here's my base. Then I took a piece of the paper because I want to tie the back into the front, and I just ripped it. And you can see here it's a white core, and so when I ripped it, you had all this white around the edge, and so I went all the way around that with the vintage photo as well, and that's going to go about there. And then this is a piece of that 3-Girl Jam ribbon that I really rough cut, and I'll show you why in a minute. But I just rough cut that, and then I took the Fired Brick Distress ink and I inked around the edges because it goes with the fill of the tag. However, it is really close to the yellow. So I thought, well, I could tie that red in and plus make the burlap stand out just a little bit better if I distressed around the edge. So that's going to go there like that. In fact, I am going to grab my glossy accents and just go ahead and adhere this down now, because I know that that's going to be the bottom part of my layering. And let me grab my pen. I thought I had unclogged this before I started the video so it would be ready to go. That's what happens when you haven't had much craft time. Whoops. And your stuff doesn't get used. As you know, Glossy Accents likes to get plenty of use. There we go. Because it dries so quickly. Now I'm going to be fairly generous with it because I don't want it coming up. And of course, with the burlap being rough, I want to be sure that it's very well adhered, because sometimes, not always, but sometimes rough texture is a little bit difficult. It comes up very easily. You could also use hot glue on this if you wanted to. I'm just going to use my Glossy Accents. And I'm just going around the edge. Now I cut this kind of at a funny angle because I did not want it to be straight on here. I wanted it to be kind of catawampus, just like that. Okay, so there's the first layer. Now I wanted this paper to go here, but I want this lace, I think, to kind of come up here like that. So we're going to do that next, because basically what I'm trying to do here is cover all of my rough edges. So I want that. Obviously I want it to be high enough up, and then we'll just tack some of this glue on the more opaque parts. Now some of this will be kind of loose, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. I don't want it to be where it will get caught, so that if it gets tugged on, the whole thing will come tearing apart the layers above it. So I want to be fairly generous with it, but I don't want it to be, I don't care if there's a little bit of movement in it as well. So let's see, that's going to go about that high, so we'll just kind of leave that there. Whoops. Leave that there and just kind of, I know it doesn't look like much like that, but by the time you get all the layers, I think it's going to be quite pretty. Okay, so there's that. And that actually covered up a little bit more of the burlap than what I really wanted it to. So I think what I'm going to do here is pull this up before it gets too permanently adhered, and just trim some of that off. I don't know if I went off camera there. If I did, I apologize. There we go. So see, as you can see, we're creating quite a bit of texture on our card here already. And then this is just going to go right on the edge here. Now, I'm going to use ATG, and I'm going to realize that I'm going to be super, super generous with the ATG, but I may actually need to go back when I'm done. We'll see how well it adheres, and I may decide that I need to add a little bit of glossy accents just to make sure that it stays stuck to the fabric. Although nope, it looks like it's going to stay stuck. So there we've got our tag already going together. And then to tie that all in together, I thought what I would do is just take this and kind of go across like that. Now, I don't know about you, and I know I've probably mentioned this in videos before, but I grew up in a time where you did not mix patterns. You didn't mix stripes and plaids and flowers and those kind of things. So I have to say, for me personally, it was really thinking outside of the box when I started learning about mixing stripes and patterns. And so it's been kind of a fun journey for me to think outside of what I normally would think, because it's just not normal for me to go mix up stripes and plaids and stuff like that. Now, again, I could have used ATG here, and it probably maybe would have been okay, but because of all the layers I have right there, I just didn't want to take that chance. And of course, any glossy accent that dries that you can see through will dry clear. It'll probably leave the ribbon a little bit of a fade on it, but it will still dry clear. And so I think that just kind of ties that in pretty well, just like that. And then as it dries, you'll be able to see that coming through. So again, just a really simple kind of rustic looking tag going on there. Now I have this piece that I was trying to decide what I wanted to do, and my original thought was to put it here. And actually, I think I may do that. And wow, that glossy accents just adheres that down well. So what I think I'll do to do that, though, is I'm going to take a couple pieces of this, because that'll just kind of emphasize this a little bit. Maybe I'll just tie a knot in this, like so. My fingers aren't working today. There we go, like that. I'll get my scissors here. And that's not going to be long enough, so we'll grab another piece. Now, this is one of those things that I do. I pick up ribbon like this, and actually even the paper that I wrap the gift with. I pick them up when I can on sale. And in the particular case of this ribbon and paper, I had picked it up at Joann's after, I believe it was Christmas last year. And it was on sale for 60% off. And so you don't have a whole lot of cost, and you have a really nice little wrapping paper and ribbon. And I really like both this paper and ribbon. This ribbon is really soft and has a really nice texture to it. And I really, really like that. So let's just glue down, again, using glossy accents. We're going to glue down the base of our tag, just like so. Now I'm going to hold that for a minute, because I want it to be good and adhered. Just like so. So now we've got know in your heart you are loved. Now let's see if I'm going to, this is pretty busy up here. Do I want to put this down here? I think I do. I think I'm just going to add that right to the bottom, bring in that metal element on the bottom. Again, glossy accents. And we're just going to adhere that down. Now these are a metal. These are the Tim Holtz tags, and I mean key holes and keys, and they're metal, but they're very, very lightweight metal. And I really like that about them. And to me, this little shape, whatever it is, to me it just mimics a heart. Even though it's not really a heart, it mimics a heart. You know, if I wanted to, I could take some glossy accents and fill in the keyhole, or I could have put the keyhole on something else, and just to give it a little bit of contrast, but I like it just like that. Now there's some glossy accents sticking out on the sides, and that's okay because it will dry clear. And give that a little bit there. Now I am going to use the key, but we'll use that in a minute. I'm going to use that at the top. So now let's grab some of our ribbon, and I'm just going to cut some varying lengths of ribbon here. Let's see. Oh, that was a piece that was already cut, so let's go ahead and pull that off, and that piece off. And I think we're going to pull out a little bit of this plaid. Again, tie it all in together like so. Just like that. And I think we're going, I haven't quite decided yet how I want to do this, but what I'm thinking I'm going to do, there's those two pieces. And I didn't quite get that third one in there. Sorry about that, guys. All right. That piece is a little bit longer than it needed to be. And these are all going to be varying lengths. And then what I'm going to do to tie it, you know, I was going to tie it with this red ribbon, but I think what I'm going to do is just pause the video and get a piece of jute. I'll be right back. Okay, so what I did, instead of finding jute, I actually found some hemp cord that you use for jewelry making and stuff, and I just tied it really tightly in a knot, and then I tied my key on also in a knot, and I actually tied it in 2 or 3 knots there, and then I tied a bow over the top of the key, and then I just kind of trimmed some of these. I left some of them longer than the others, the plaid sticking out to tie it in, the yellow and the red ties in the colors there, and there we have our finished tag for my friend Vanessa. So thanks for stopping by today. Check out the pictures at the end of the video and you'll see how it all looks together with the packaging. So thanks for stopping by, and remember to take time to enjoy the little things. Have a great day.